Hello and welcome back. Today we are gonna be talking about not the Sophie scarf, because as you've heard, the Sophie scarf has been everywhere, and while I don't have anything against the Sophie scarf, I think there are more interesting alternatives out there. Or maybe you already have 5 of them and you want to make something different for a change, or you want to knit something that is a bit more complex and is going to keep your attention a bit more. Or like me, you just dislike garter stitch. I am wearing the Soul Sister scarf by Northland. I liked that scarf very much. I think it's so cute. This is knit with Knitting for Olive Merino and their mohair, and I really like that combo. I think the mohair is one of the softer ones. Not sure whether sensitive skinned people are gonna respond well to that one, but I think it's very soft. I have felt scratchier ones, and I have also started to knit on the scarf number 4. I will not be talking about that today because everyone knows it. And as you can see, I've already taken the needle out and I will not be continuing to knit on this. This will be frogged because I'm just not feeling it anymore. I think the design... Oh, the dog is drinking again. So as I said, I think it just looks a bit too busy for my personal taste. And I'm not the greatest at 1x1 rib, and that scarf really shows it. So yes, I will be frogging that. This is some cashmere I bought in a sale. And I will probably be knitting one of the alternatives I'm going to be showing in this video. So, I will mainly be talking about smaller designers because, let's be real, the small scarves by bigger designers, we all know them. There will also be honorable mentions at the end of the video for just some scarves that I thought were especially cool or especially funny that might not be small scarves, like some of them are, but some of them are big. So if you're into big scarves as well, then stay tuned. I have also made a Ravelry bundle, which is gonna be linked below, and that one is gonna have way more scarves than I'm gonna be able to talk about today, so check that out. The first one I want to show you is the Painting with Beads scarf by Pope Vergara. And I think it's so cool because it has beads. Like a small scarf is an accessory that's most likely intended to really elevate your outfit and bring that touch of like stylishness, coolness, elegance, whatever you're going for. And I think the beads are such a genius idea. And I believe the way you attach beads to knitting is you take a crochet hook, you put your bead on the crochet hook, like a 1mm crochet hook, you take one stitch off your needle, you slide the bead over the stitch, and then you put it back on the needle and you knit it as you usually would. That's probably gonna take a bit longer, but I think this is totally worth it. Like, this looks so cool. It does have 50 projects on Ravelry, and I think you could get really creative with them. Like, you wouldn't even have to do the blobs. You could even make different shapes. I think it would be best if you charted them out beforehand. Also, this is one of the scarves that is made in DK weight. I personally, when I knit a small scarf, I just ignore anything gauge related. I get a yarn that I like that is somewhere between fingering and worsted weight, and I use my 3mm needles, like no matter the yarn. and it's probably gonna come out fine. I will also not be doing a gauge swatch, I'm sorry. The next one I think is really cool as well. I enjoy things that have simple shapes but are still interesting because the color is surprising or the shape is in some way surprising, but I don't love things that are super detailed or dainty. So this one is very, very cool. It's this squiggly scarf and it is garter stitch. I imagine you could knit it in stockinette. You could probably do some double knitting and still do the wavy shape. And I believe, yes, it says the curves are worked with increases and decreases. And it has a double stockinette stitch selvage at both edges, whatever that means. Is that the fake I-cord that everyone's doing? Not sure. Could be. Is it double knitted? I don't know. I might find out if I decide to make this one. We then have the Pia Scarf Narrow by Dominica Penduso. I have seen that there is a bigger version of this, just like the Sophie scarf has a small version and a bigger version. And actually, I have already cast on this scarf. I am doing a cal with two of my friends because one of them brought us back this lovely Angora and lambswool yarn from Scotland, and we've purchased some mohair to go with it. And I have already made a mistake down here, but yeah, that scarf is gonna have a good end and a bad end. And I think you could easily just tuck that away. But I'm really happy with it. This is a lot of fun to knit. Again, I have to work on my tension when it comes to 1x1 rib, but it's not looking too bad. And blocking's probably gonna do a bit for that as well. So this is sport weight, nothing special. You basically just work a ribbed pattern, and I think it's so cute. Also, the pattern I really like because it has the written out instructions and also the charts. And when I opened the pattern, I almost fell into a coma when I was looking at the written out instructions. I don't like written out instructions. Like this one had only written out instructions. It was kind of easy to memorize because it's only a 4-row repeat. But for that one, if that one wasn't charted, I might have not been able to knit it. I'm so glad this has a chart. Next up is a bandana, but bandanas and small scarves kind of go into the same realm for me personally, because you can wear them the same way. This is by Amy's Knit Lab, and is it? Yeah, it does look like stranded colorwork, so that's good. One thing that I personally would do differently about this is it has like one good side and then it has the back side. So if I were to knit this, I would probably double knit it, just like both sides identically. Or since this is a triangle, I would maybe make like a double triangle shape, like double the height and then fold it over in the middle and then sew along the edges so that it doesn't have one bad side where all of the floats are hanging out. But I think you could really have a lot of fun with colors. Like you don't have to do black and white, obviously. This could also be a good scrap project. And you don't have to stick to 2 colors even. But like, what are we doing? Pricing a small scarf that has a bad side that's gonna be showing at €9.40. Pretty sure any experienced knitter could just knit from sight, from a picture. Why are we pricing small scarves like a full-ass sweater? Just asking. Then, if you know the Mountain Walk socks by Handmade by Florence, they have a very dainty, sweet little mock cable pattern where the cable consists of 2 stitches and you just like go in and out of them. You don't actually cross them by taking them off the needle. And when I was knitting these socks, I thought that could be a cool pattern for a small scarf as well. So this one, it's in Norwegian. Oh, there's the English one. This one also has these faux cables, like they do look identical to the Mountain Walk socks to me. And I think this is really pretty. This might actually be the one that I use this cashmere yarn for. Because I think this is significantly less busy while still interesting. I didn't remember I put this in here, but we have a true classic. This is the Two of Daisies little scarflet. And considering how well established Degen Knits is, this only has 23 projects, which is an indicator to me that either not many people knit small scarves except for the Sophie scarf, or that it is for some reason hard to knit. I think it's beautiful. It's so fucking cool. I really want to knit this. I want to knit this at the end of this year or maybe next year. And the project description says that this is knit in intarsia, and we all know how I feel about that. I feel very badly. I don't like intarsia. But what I thought, construction, worked from tip to tip in rows. It does not say, however, do you work like both sides of the scarf and then fold them together? Or are you making 2 separate scarves and then sewing them together to get this double-sided thing? Because here I cannot see whether it's got a bad backside. I don't think so. So this could also be done in double knitting, but it doesn't say. That would be quite interesting to know. Because personally, how I would approach this to not have to do intarsia, I would cast on twice the amount of stitches for the width of the scarf on magic loop. And then I would knit both sides at the same time, just as a tube, like as you would a sock, for example. And then I think like you would be catching a lot of floats, but I think that would be worth it to not have to do intarsia. I think that is the way I will be approaching this pattern. Next up is the Schachmat scarf. And if you're into the Korshavn sweater, then that one is going to be for you. I think the stitch structure that this scarf has is probably identical. Yeah, it does say basket weave stitch. So this is very cool. I love a good checkered thing, and this is no exception. I personally would maybe make this a bit thinner. It's a bit wide for my liking, but that's just my personal taste, and I think you could easily leave out one of the basket weave columns at one of the edges. That is a very nice one. It has 20 projects. I'm surprised this doesn't have more hype. to be honest. One thing that would be really nice for spring is the Milotte scarf. And I saw this, like this green version, and somehow it spoke to me. I will probably not be making this because it doesn't fit my style. Like, I feel like this design is very feminine and very dainty for someone who likes a lot of detail. But I think this would look so good on somebody else. And I imagine with the eyelets, this would also be fun to knit while not be overly taxing on your cognitive system. So this would probably be a good semi-mindless knit that's not boring. The designer has made it out of nowhere. No, the designer has made it out of mohair. But in the projects, a lot of people also have used non-fluffy yarns and it still looks as good. I really like the straight edge at the bottom and at the top. I think that gives it that really interesting look because all of the other scarves have pointy ends. So my scarf is starting to itch. Not me just saying good things about the yarn combination. The next one is already in my queue. My queue is bursting. Yesterday night, I was laying in bed and I was getting overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that is in my Ravelry queue. But this one is gonna stay in there because I love that. It's nothing special, to be honest. It's just this ribbed pattern that has pearl rose going through it. And it's so simple, yet so genius. It's also reasonably priced at €4.90. I think that is an appropriate price for a small scarf. Petite knit. And what drew me to this scarf was the first model picture. Because when I see something cobalt blue, I have to click on it. I love cobalt blue. I would have to say it's probably my favorite color next to tomato red and mustard yellow. Like not shitty mustard, like mustard on steroids, like neon mustard. That was probably a bad description. But I have put this scarf into my Ravelry queue because I really want to make this in Cardiff Cashmere. They have this one shade of cobalt and I think that's gonna be so good. I love everything about this scarf. This could even be good for beginners because you only have to knit in pearl. There's probably gonna be some shaping in there, but yes, it does say skill level easy with basic knitting experience. And it says it has an I-cord edge. And I'm yet again curious whether it's going to be a fake I-cord or an actual I-cord. I have attempted to make a real I-cord on a bandana that I would have been able to do while I was knitting and not attaching after the piece was done. But I was not able to figure out a way to do that. I just did leaning increases and then I discovered that when I did leaning increases, 3 stitches in from the edge, it's gonna curl by itself and it's gonna look like an I-cord. But that's probably not the most elegant way to do it. So I am suspecting this has a fake I-cord edge with lifted stitches. Is that what you call them? Like, this one also has a fake I-cord edge, and I do assume the Sophie scarf does as well. That is one of my favorites for sure. So these are all of the serious small scarves that I'm going to be talking about today. Again, check out the bundle. There's a huge variety of stuff in there, and there's quite a few good ones that I haven't been able to get to in this video. But I have 3 more honorable mentions because I just love them. The first one is the Liter Coffee scarf. Not me nailing the Polish pronunciation. Oh, I thought literkowy meant literature, but it says an adjective of the word letters in Polish. So like written, maybe? Fun. Fun, fun. But basically, this is a scarf that is knit in stockinette, and you make letters on it by doing pearls. And the pattern even says you can chart your own letters. And I think this is so cool. Like, it does remind me of a towel. Like, do you know the towels that also have like negative space stuff on them? But not in a bad way. I think it's so subtle and elegant and really cool. And you could write a swear word on it and still be the most elegant person in the room. That would be so funny. Really like that. The next thing is something that I personally would never knit, but I still think is so beautiful. This is the Adeline shawl by Christina Garza Brown. And what drew me to this initially was the garter stitch striping in blue and green. Again, blue and green. And it does have lace stripes in between. And especially the blue and green version with the white lace in between. This is stunning. It's so beautiful. And I know that this would never work for my personal style. Like, it would just look so misplaced in all of my outfits. But I have already been thinking, like, could I tweak this to be a small scarf? Like, let me see. The stripes, they're not full garter stitch. So the first stripe is garter stitch, and then the second one is stockinette, which I think gives it a really interesting texture. And the lace just adds this like super interesting detail. And maybe I would tweak the lace to be less dainty. Like, just do some eyelets maybe, or some sort of other structure, like moss stitch might work as well. And then do these stripes. And it's probably gonna look very busy on a small scarf because it's just so condensed into one place. But this is absolutely beautiful. You could also make a blanket in that design. That would be freaking sick. But you would also be busy for like maybe 100 years. So yes, that will live in my favorites until I figure out how to tweak this so it's gonna work for my style. And the last one is just plain hilarious. Like, the price is hilarious. It costs $9.52. Like, what are we doing? But for this one, I think it's justified. It's the Baby Alligator Scarf by Morehouse Designs. And it is a small scarf. Like, it's a scarf and it's small. And you might not be taken super seriously when you walk around wearing that scarf. But that's so funny. Like, I would make that. Not for any kids, just for me. That is so fun. It does have some kind of structure. But I'm not sure how this is made. Like, it has not like baubles that sometimes cable sweaters have. This looks like actual structure. I'm explaining this so badly. But this is just so funny. And I'm not the biggest fan of that olive green. but the purple version, that is so funny. That's so funny. I love that. These are all of these scarves that I will be talking about today. Let me know, did you have any favorites, or do you know of any cool small scarves that I haven't mentioned in here? Because I would love to add them to the Ravelry bundle, and then we can have this little like community collection of small scarves. So I'm gonna end the video here because I'm extremely hungry. I'm on my lunch break and I'm about to perish. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great day and see you next time. Ugh.